During the match, it was pretty brutal. It really kind of Big Show was kind of used as a pawn to really forward this NWO storyline that sold
Yeah.
out because it was only about 6 months old at this time, and Big Show, the Giant at the time, was was the person chosen to feud against Hogan at this time.
Mhm.
And so, during the match, it was, you got a bunch of run-ins. You had like, I think,
Yeah,
Buff Bagwell
that's how
came in.
a clever way of getting out of giving them a finish there.
Yep. It was a non-finish.
1, 2, 3 ever. 1, 2, 3. It never happened. It didn't
Yep.
come time, but but there was so much chaos during
Yep.
the course of the finish that you had to scratch your head and think, hey, well, did anybody ever really get beaten there? Because I thought when I watched it back again, I thought, that was pretty clever, really. They had all these guys to do it, and it didn't hurt either guy.
Mhm.
That's built. It accomplished what it was meant to do. It was meant to make Paul be a giant.
Yeah, it protected them.
It accomplished that.
Yeah.
And nobody got beat out of it. They got away, so that left them something to do the next week, because we had 2 live TVs and a pay-per-view every month, 2 live TVs every week. And that's a lot of writing to do for writing teams. And, so it left them a way out, and it didn't. I don't think it burned the people, But,
Yeah, I think the finish protected him, but I think the kind of shenanigans afterwards that didn't really protect him that much to me. I think the spray paint, they pulled the shorts down, that was blurred out.
They went straight for the heat after that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, how was that discussed? As far as you can remember, how was that discussed kind of backstage before the pay-per-view? As far as agreeing to that, was that a Hogan idea? Whose idea was that, as far as you can remember?
I'm sure that was Hogan and Bischoff together. And Paul at that point in time was, he was young and green, and he was there to do whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Well, he was fine with that. There was no animosity or nobody balking about, oh man, he had a great attitude about it. He was completely business.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was, like I said, he was young and he didn't, even older, that was a business move to make.
Yeah.
And for that particular time. But
yeah, he was really young too.
Whoa, yeah, you can see his face.
Yeah.
You can see how hard the road is too. If you look at the match with Hogan, and then 1 year later, the match with Nash. That it's just he worked probably 300 days out of the year that year. Mm-hmm. We were on the road, we were trying to compete with Vince. If Vince would have run 500 shows a year, then we'd have tried to run 520. It was crazy. But you could see he had got a whole lot better. It's like watching a band. When you first see them, if they're pretty good, then you see them a year later after they worked every night, and they're like, "Whoa, they're way better!"
Yeah,
so you can see that much difference in him.
Absolutely, and he was just shy of 25 in this match.
Yeah,
1997. He was just shy of 25 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's a lot of growing still to be done between the years.
Oh yeah,
but he was never a problem ever.
Yeah, and that's major, man. He was 23 when he won the WCW championship in '95.
It'd be kind of hard to not have a big head coming out, right out of the chute and then putting the title on you.
Yes, especially at 23 years old.
A little bit full of yourself. Gee.
Yeah, right. Now, as far as you remember, speaking on that, real quick, and this is what we'll close up with. For him to win the title for that short of time at 23 years old in 1995, first time that he stepped in the ring winning the world championship in 1995, was there any heat that was given to him for having that type of kind of catapult so early in his career?
I'm sure he had heat with some guys, but nobody ever really openly displayed it because he was in the clique, and part of the storyline of what was happening And everybody, it was a team. Everybody wanted him to be successful. If he was successful, then we were successful.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the attitude that it had taken. But there's always going to be some that resent that because they want to be in that spot, or they think, well, I've been doing this for 10 years. Why don't you know? And they got the right, but they weren't Paul. They weren't the giant. He has a unique look, and he was in the right place at the right time. And with the people that was behind him, pushing him and helping him and teaching him and bringing him along psychology-wise, it was the right move to make, in my opinion.
Very interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, we see, he debuted in 95 first match, and 26 years later, here we are.
I hope we didn't have to go. Well, with COVID right now, nobody's doing the road like we used to. But I guess once that vaccination, everybody gets one, it'll start back. And I'm telling you, the road is a young man's game. Even if you're not taking bumps, if you're just one of the agents, and you have to drag your bags all over the world, it's not easy to do.
Right.
And your heart, and you have to be into it, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. It's a whole different ball game. It's like it's just like say goodbye to your family. You're only going to see them a couple of days a week now. A lot of people think that once they make it to that next level, it's like, oh man, I paid my dues and I made it. Like, well, okay, well now you're at a whole new level, and there's a whole new level of dues to be paid.
Yeah,
and it's different, and what you expect all this glory and what you see on TV, and then the reality is that you're just working yourself every night. Even if you're hurt, you got to go, and you miss your family. It's hard. It's really hard on family life. I've had several different people that I trained that ended up getting a break, especially back in the WCW days, and would travel and actually get a contract with WCW and be on the road for about a year. And their family, and one guy's wife said, "Hey, it's wrestling or me, buddy." And he chose his family, and you don't blame him. But it's not for everybody, because it's not what you always picture it to be just from watching it on TV. It's when you watch it on TV, it's like just constant glory days, and it is glory when you are in the ring. You're performing in front of people. There's nothing else in the world like it. It feels like it. When you're in the ring and you're part of a match and there's a sold out crowd out there and they are responding and yelling and you can feel the noise and they're responding to what you're doing. That gives you a feeling like there's no comparison to it.
Yeah. Last question. Would you place Big Show among one of the greatest big men in pro wrestling history?
Hard to say, but he's got to be up there, because how do you judge who was the greatest? By how many championship matches they had, or how much
box office, resume, popularity.
There's so many different aspects to look at. Technical worker. Can he work with big guy, little guy? To me, the very best was Andre, but there's so many other guys that Undertaker. My goodness,
for sure.
But I have to give it to Paul. I would say, if there was like a top five, he would definitely be in the top five.
Yeah. I agree with that. Ladies and gentlemen, he is Nick Patrick. I'm Dr. Chris Featherstone, and you just heard the Inside Scoop. So long.